Now on 4 News Now at 6, rain, snow, and wind are just some of the things you can expect over the next 24 hours.
We have team coverage tonight on when the snow is expected to start and how it's going to impact your morning commute.
As temperatures drop, families will be plugging in their space heaters, what the fire department says you should do to prevent a fire.
And a local race could have national ramifications. How the U.S. Senate race between Patty Murray and Tiffany Smiley could make or break President Biden's plans for the future. You're watching 4 News Now at 6.
Get ready for some winter weather. We could see snow in the next few hours. Thanks for joining us. I'm Aaron Luna.
I'm Kirsten O'Connor. We're talking about that snow and wind that could create some dangerous conditions. Meteorologists Chris Crocker and Matt Gray have team coverage for you tonight with everything we need to know to make sure that everyone stays prepared and safe. And we start with Chris, who's been tracking that snow all week.
Oh, and because we want to keep your family safe, that is why we have a weather alert day for Friday for the combination of the snow in the morning and the strong winds picking up tomorrow night. The snow is actually already crossed the Cascades. We're starting to see it around the Omak area, Winthrop. It's rain in Moses Lake, and as it makes its way into the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, it may start off as rain. Here's a look at our computer model forecast starting off at 8 o'clock tonight with a mixture of rain and snow around the Spokane area, and that's how this storm is going to play out through tomorrow morning. Some rain down in the lowest valleys or a non-accumulating snow with snow piling up on the higher benches. As we get into late Thursday night, Friday morning, we see only the very lowest locations staying as rain, but we'll see that heavy wet snow falling on the South Hill, on the 5 Mile Prairie, around the Coeur d'Alene area, and that is falling on deciduous trees that still have their leaves. So we could run into some problems, not only with a tricky morning commute, but with branches breaking and weakening. And then as we go through the morning commute, here's 5 a.m., we start to see the green showing up again. We will see all of that snow turning back to rain by fairly early in the day. That is why our forecast snow totals vary quite a bit. For some of the lower locations, could see less than an inch, but up around Deer Park, Spirit Lake, Coeur d'Alene, Spangle, Cheney, up to 4 inches of that heavy, wet snow on the morning commute. Meanwhile, we have a winter weather advisory in effect for the area shaded in purple for late tonight through Friday morning. It's a winter storm warning for the area shaded in pink, up to 5 inches of snow in the valleys with heavy wet snow in the mountains. That is only the first part of this storm. Dangerous wind gusts picking up in the evening, and that is where our meteorologist Matt Gray picks up that part of the forecast. Matt?
All right. Thank you, Chris, very much. And yes, a high wind watch, which is likely going to be, at least in a few areas, a high wind warning as we get into tomorrow and kind of dial in some of the timing of the winds. But we got a pretty good idea already. It is going to be a windy end to Friday and even start to Saturday around the inland northwest. So I want to show you this first because this is going to give you the proper context when we show you the wind forecast. As you get those wind gusts into that 40 to 50 mile an hour and 50 to 60 mile an hour range, that's when you start to see some damage to trees. You get damage to power lines. Driving on some of those windy roads where it's a lot of open ground becomes very difficult. And we're expected to get into that 50 to 60 mile an hour range around parts of the inland northwest through this wind event, which is going to start kicking up on Friday and will go on through the darkness of Friday night. So here are your wind gusts as we progress through Friday, with the rain falling likely as we head towards lunchtime. And you can see those winds in the Columbia Basin already kicking up, getting close to 40 miles an hour in the Ritzville area. That's going to spread onto the West Plains and across the Palouse as we get into the afternoon. This is right in the middle of the evening commute, and you're talking on the West Plains down to Pullman over to Ritzville, 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts. That is not pleasant. And as we head into the night, especially between, say, about 7 p.m. and to midnight or even as late as 1 or 2 in the morning, that's when we expect to see those potential 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts, which have, of course, the most damage potential, especially in Spokane County and eastern Washington. And we'll see those windy weather, that windy weather as well, push its way into Kootenai County in the overnight hours. By Saturday morning, it's still pretty blustery, but things are starting to calm down just slightly. By the time we get to lunchtime on Saturday, the winds are much more palatable and less severe, and even less so by Saturday night. Of course, all the leaves on the trees, that becomes an issue here as well, simply because you've got more area for the wind to push against, and that may lead to more potential tree damage as a result than it would otherwise in November. All right, so that is the wind part of this forecast. We have a lot of big weather changes coming up even after this storm has passed. Chris has a full rundown of a very active 7-day forecast coming up.
Matt, thank you. And stay up to date on both the snow and wind gusts with the 4 News Now weather app. You can turn on push notifications to get weather alerts where you are sent straight to your phone. As the temperatures in the inland Northwest continue to drop, now's a good time to check out those space heaters.
That's right. The Spokane Valley Fire Department says they put out 16 fires involving heating equipment at home since 2020. So before you plug in those space heaters tonight, Peter Choi walks us through a checklist for your safety.
Winter is coming. If your heating equipment is from garage sales or items passed down from family, you may want to check if they're in good shape.
Have those safety checks sometimes in them. They can be problematic. So we're really encouraging people, if they're going to use it safely, make sure it's operating correctly.
And one thing you also want to remember is to plug space heaters directly into a wall and don't use extension cord or the power strip.
The reason that you have to do that is because it requires a lot of voltage, and its amps, the rating that it has, requires it to be plugged in the wall.
You need to make sure keep the space heater at least 3 to 4 feet from anything that can easily catch fire.
This is what we want to avoid, because if you had a towel, let's say, or you had a blanket that you kept up here and somehow it got knocked down, it could be in direct contact with that glass and actually catch on fire.
Fire officials say chimney fires are one of the most common fires they deal with every winter.
If it's a wood stove or a pellet stove, it produces tar-like material inside the chimney, and you should clean it annually, especially if you're using that as your main heat source.
Firefighters are also recommending you to test smoke detectors and carbon monoxide alarms once a month. In Spokane Valley, Peter Choi, 4 News Now.
The section of Bigelow Gulch Road from Progress and the Bigelow intersection of Wellesley and Sullivan near East Valley High School is now reopened. The road was originally supposed to open Monday, but was delayed for minor changes. This project is part of the Bigelow Gulch Safety and Mobility Project. And once it is done, this section of the road will be 4 lanes with turn pockets and a center median. The goal is for it to be done, completely done, by next spring. Be careful when driving through Spokane school zones. Starting Monday, new speed zone cameras that have been put up and running near Ferris, Adams, and Roosevelt Elementary for the last couple of months, we're sending out just warnings. But starting Monday, speed zone violators are going to be caught on camera and get a ticket ranging anywhere from $219 to $450.
New tonight at 6 o'clock, the CDC says there's been twice as many cases of RSV this year compared to 2021, which is likely leading to more severe cases, especially in children. Experts also say that number is probably much higher since there is very little testing for the disease in the U.S. because of how common it is. An estimated 100 to 500 kids die from RSV-related illnesses every year. As of now, there are no specific treatments for mild or moderate cases. Pfizer is currently working on a vaccine that the company says is effective at preventing severe cases, but it won't be available until next year.
Get ready to turn your clocks back an hour. Daylight saving time ends this weekend. Will this be the last time we gear up for more sleep, or will we be changing our clocks once again in the spring? We'll have the answer coming up.
And tens of thousands of ballots in Washington are contested every election. Why your signature could be the reason your vote isn't counted. Coming up next on 4 News Now at 6.
Track live radar on the 4 News Now weather app.
Save your greed! Joni here. Before you decide on an SUV, I invite you to see and drive the Volkswagen Tiguan. It's impressive and it checks all the boxes. A roomy interior, plenty of cargo space with remote power liftgate. All-wheel drive, that's important in the Northwest. Solid performance, modern infotainment system with all the high-tech choices. Check out the Tiguan at your nearby Post Falls Volkswagen, the home of 0000.
I'm Mike Hogan, the owner and branch manager of Chimney Rock Mortgage.
Our family is proud to be part of this community.
Chimney Rock Mortgage has been in business for 15 years.
All of which have been right here in Spokane.
We all live locally, spend our money here, know the area, and are in the same time zone. I really hope you choose Chimney Rock, but if not, please shop local.
Contact your local equal housing lender, Chimney Rock Mortgage, for your home loan pre-approval.
Joe Biden can count on Patty Murray. Other Democrats may abandon Biden, but the president doesn't worry about Murray. From the Green New Deal, student loan forgiveness, expanding the IRS, and giving health care and citizenship to border crossers. Murray votes with Biden 96% of the time on refocusing the military to white supremacy, transgender rights, critical race theory. Patty Murray is a committed progressive. Call Patty Murray. Thank her for standing with President Joe Biden. Our American Century is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Meet your local essential workers.
What I like about the UFCW 3000 is for the benefits that make our lives better.
They make sure that we have secured pension and retirement.
I can work part-time and still maintain my health care coverage.
I don't see myself going anywhere else because of UFCW 3000 benefits and wages.
Thanks, UFCW 3000.
Support local essential workers who live in and support our community. Go to ufcw3000.org to learn more.
I'm Patty Murray, and I approve this message.
Why is Mitch McConnell spending millions to convince you to support Tiffany Smiley?
Tiffany Smiley is outstanding.
So Trump Republicans can pass their extreme agenda. Repeal the Affordable Care Act.
Tiffany Smiley is outstanding.
Slash Medicare. Privatize Social Security.
Outstanding.
Overturn elections.
Outstanding.
Ban abortion. Roll back same-sex marriage.
Outstanding.
Smiley is Mitch McConnell's hand-picked candidate for Senate, making her the wrong choice for us.
Our For the People election coverage continues. Tonight, we're going over the various reasons your ballot could be challenged or rejected.
There are a few easy steps you can take to make sure your vote is counted. Emily Bloom is live at the elections office with what those are. Emily.
Yeah, you may not think twice about that signature line on your envelope as you're signing it, sealing it, and sending it off, but that is going to be a big factor in verifying your vote. The election workers here are going to compare that signature to the one that is on your voter registration.
They all have a barcode on them. We scan those envelopes to make sure that it's eligible to be returned. It takes a picture of the envelope and crops the signature for signature verification.
They'll be verifying every signature that comes in.
So we're anticipating verifying 240,000 signatures for this election. They are done by humans that look at every signature and compare the signature on the envelope to the voter registration signature.
If there's a question or something doesn't look right, you'll be notified.
What was processed today, letters will go out tomorrow. So we're sending out over 200 letters a day to voters that tell them how to resolve their signature issues.
Beyond that, voters will be called up until 3 days before certification of the election.
In this room, they actually are opening the ballots from the security envelopes, reviewing the ballots to make sure that there's no issues with the ballots, and they will scan in our final processing, which is also going on now.
From beginning to end, the ballots go through about 6 different steps to verify eligibility and security. The ballots can also be challenged if they're not eligible, if somebody moved, if they were signed with a power of attorney, that's not allowed, if a witness was needed, or if they came in too late. They're anticipating about 1,500 people will submit their votes late beyond that November 8th, 8 p.m. deadline, and they will not be counted. Roughly 350,000 people are registered to vote in Spokane County, and about 31% of them have submitted their ballots already. Reporting live in Spokane, Emily Bloom, 4 News Now.
Tomorrow is a weather alert day. We have a significant early season storm on the way and want to make sure that your family is prepared and safe for some heavy wet snow in the morning, but perhaps more troubling high winds tomorrow evening. I'll go over the timing with you after the break.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
4 News Now is brought to you by Coeur d'Alene Nissan.
September 7th was horrible.
All hell broke loose.
80% of the town lost their homes.
My family's home burned to the ground.
It was just heartbreaking.
Kathy was there for us.
Not taking political sides.
She's done a lot.
Put her name on the line to help here.
Kathy helped us start the journey to rebuilding.
She went above and beyond. She genuinely, actually cares.
I'm Kathy McMorris-Rogers, and I approve this message.
Turn up the heat. The Commodores live. A musical experience you won't forget. November 10th at Coeur d'Alene Casino. Get tickets now at cdacasino.com. 70 million albums sold. 7 #1 hits. The Grammy Award-winning Commodores.
Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning is your family-owned and operated #1 HVAC contractor in the Northwest. Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning would like to introduce our own carbon reduction program. Buy a new energy-efficient furnace from Bill's Heating and receive a matching air conditioner with installation absolutely free. No hidden fees, no conditions, no exceptions. Buy a furnace, get a free AC from Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call today for estimates and repairs.
The race is on to save thousands during the 72-hour sale at Cal, where they are marking down rigs to sell fast and delaying all payments until February 1st with a complimentary 2-year service maintenance plan included. This weekend at Cal.
Freedom, liberty, pursuing American dreams. That's Idaho. But Joe Biden severely threatened our way of life. Reckless energy policies sent gas prices soaring, irresponsible spending, and record-breaking inflation. Open borders allowed dangerous drugs and crime into our neighborhoods. I'm Mike Crapo. I approve this message because we are Idaho, and together we'll fight to protect Idaho's way of life.
First part of this forecast is tricky, and here is why. Our temperatures are going to be right around freezing, a little below in spots, a little above in others, just right around the Spokane area, and that is going to make a huge difference about how much snow you get at your house. Temperatures right now still 40 at 9 Mile in downtown Spokane. We are in the mid-30s in many locations, and those outlying areas on the higher benches, that is where we are expecting the most snow with this approaching system. A little broader view on our temperatures, 30s in most spots. It's already 30 degrees at Winthrop, 33 in Omak, a couple of the locations where we're starting to see the snow. Here's our satellite and radar. Also check the passes, snowing over the Cascade Passes now. In this wet weather, you can see the dividing line between the rain and the snow is coming right for the Spokane area, where we are going to see a little bit of everything until I think most locations will start to see some snow in the early morning hours. Here's a look at our forecast radar starting off at our current time. It initializes well. That's going to show that snow moving into Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. So lower locations, 1,800, 1,900, and I'll go over elevations in the next half hour. We'll see mainly a rain-snow mix with snow on the higher benches and elsewhere. That snow will pick up in intensity in the early morning hours before the morning commute. Snowing hard enough that we may see some minor accumulations on the roadways, but already by 7 o'clock, we're going to start to see some warm air moving in, making that snow switch over to rain and leaving a sloppy mess for the morning commute to work and school. Everybody turns to rain by the time we're in the afternoon. Highs getting up around 50 degrees. Snow levels going up to around 5,000 to 6,000 feet. The wind forecast is not quite as tricky, but here's a look at some of the forecast snow totals. One of the problems with this, you'd have to run out and measure very quickly because it will melt just about as quickly as it falls. Winds picking up. It's going to be a windy day throughout the day, but things really get going into the more concerning categories right around midnight Saturday or just a little bit before. That's where in that 50 to 60 mile per hour range where we could have some more significant tree damage. And then things start to calm down on Saturday, but it's not going to be a great raking day. But hopefully you won't be picking up larger branches at your house. Lows tonight in the 30s. Highs tomorrow in the 40s and 50s, and then we start cooling off. We'll be in the 20s for highs early next week with overnight lows in the teens.
Get ready to switch your clocks back. Daylight saving time is once again ending on Sunday, and your kids will soon see more sunlight waiting for the bus, but lose light for those evening practices.
The future of daylight saving time is now in limbo. Many people are confused, wondering if the back and forth is ever going to end. Tonight at 6 o'clock, Esther Bauer explains what experts are saying and where the issue stands now.
I'm here at the Clock House where this team is gearing up to change all these clocks. Daylight saving time isn't new, but the controversy still fires people up every time the change rolls around.
There's no reason to switch back and forth.
But on Sunday, we will again. Many are wondering, is the clock ticking towards change? The U.S. Senate hopes so. Back in March, they passed the Sunshine Protection Act, which would make daylight saving time permanent. But the bill is now stalled in the U.S. House of Representatives, with House members voting on other issues instead. And there's still no clear timeline if and when it will come to a vote. If it did pass, it would get rid of the hour rollback, and some sleep experts are worried.
The time we should stay on is standard time, not daylight savings time.
This biology professor has his way for now, saying it's better for our bodies to see more sun in the morning.
Get out, open the windows, really get exposed to daylight, because that's really going to help you cope with the winter blues.
State Representative Marcus Riccelli is eyeing something different. He wants to lock the clocks and make daylight saving time permanent, saying kids will have more time to play outside in the evening and car accidents will go down. Change will only happen at the federal level. So for now, Sunday's switch will keep winding people up twice a year as permanent change hangs in uncertainty. Esther Bauer, 4 News Now.
Colder weather on Green Bluff signals the start of Christmas tree season. Some farms are providing you-cut Christmas trees with early reservations this year. And there are plenty of other activities you can do as soon as you pick out your tree.
Have a drink, sit by the fire, spend time with your family, and then head on home and go decorate the tree.
Wildland Cooperative sells dozens of handmade goods from local vendors, and the beer, wine, and non-alcoholic drinks are all made in-house. You can enjoy Christmas tree season at Wildland Cooperative by reserving a time online to cut your own tree starting tomorrow. The farm is also taking pre-orders for freshly made wreaths. Winter hours at the market start, and it will be open for you to stay warm and shop local every Thursday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. For more information on Green Bluff in the wintertime, see the story right now on KXLY.com.
And if you're looking for something a little bit different to put under the tree this year, Miller Lite is selling a Christmas tree keg stand as a part of their holiday collection. The company says the fully functioning tree stand is designed to fit a quarter-barrel keg that holds only 83 cups of beer. Might want to get 2. And the parents of the woman killed while on her road trip are suing a Utah Police Department for $50 million. Why they claim they could have prevented their daughter's death. Coming up after the break.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
The world needs solutions.
Like now.
We need more voices.
More voices.
More voices.
Not less.
We don't build barriers.
We tear them down!
I learned from great books, but I write my own story. And look to the future.
The world needs me.
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 Me. Me.
I'm Patty Murray, and I approve this message.
Why is Mitch McConnell spending millions to convince you to support Tiffany Smiley?
Tiffany Smiley is outstanding.
So Trump Republicans can pass their extreme agenda. Repeal the Affordable Care Act.
Tiffany Smiley is outstanding.
Slash Medicare. Privatize Social Security.
Outstanding.
Overturn elections.
Outstanding.
Ban abortion. Roll back same-sex marriage.
Outstanding.
Smiley is Mitch McConnell's hand-picked candidate for Senate, making her the wrong choice for us.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a four-letter word.
I think I'll sell my veggies at the market.
You even remember to water the house plants.
I do this? You can do this.
Hey, we need to build a home office. We're adding another bathroom.
I think I'll study programming.
Bro, you even connect your phone to Bluetooth.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
Here at the Meade School District, energy management, it's been something that's been on the rise as far as what's important to us. The reason why is, as the budget continues to shrink, we need to do more with less. Yeah, I love Avista. They've been really great to work with. When I have energy efficiency ideas, I get in touch with my rep. They'll go back to their project managers and to the engineers. Avista does a really great job at telling you what the simple payback will be of any of the projects, and then you can make an educated decision on whether you want to move forward.
Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you 18 or older? Have you lived in Washington state for at least 30 days? If so, you are likely eligible to vote in Washington. Voter pamphlets and ballots are available in multiple languages. Your vote is your voice, and your voice matters. Make a plan to vote. Learn more about eligibility at sos.wa.gov and get registered today at votewa.gov.
4 News Now is brought to you by Falcos.
New at 6 tonight, President Biden hit the campaign trail today, bragging about his administration's accomplishments, including his effort to offer student loan debt relief. He also criticized the Republicans who have sued to stop the program from taking effect.
Their outrage is just simply wrong, and I might add, I want to be too political here, but hypocritical. Fighting them in court or not letting them get away with it.
Republicans have argued the plan is too costly. The program is on hold for now after a challenge by attorney generals in 6 Republican-led states. The Biden administration has argued the court should allow the policy to move forward while the appeal process plays out.
The parents of the woman who was murdered by her fiancé during a road trip are suing the Moab Police Department in Utah for $50 million. They claim officers were negligent in their interaction with Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie during an investigation into a domestic violence incident 2 weeks before her death. The lawsuit claims officers improperly determined Petito was the aggressor and misapplied Utah's domestic abuse laws.
I have her back in a heartbeat, because she's what's important. But we feel we need to bring justice because she could have been protected that day.
The city of Moab issued a statement denying responsibility for her murder and saying it would defend against the lawsuit. It said its officers could not see into the future based on this single interaction, and no one could have predicted the tragedy weeks later and hundreds of miles away.
Also new tonight, the FDA is recommending parents not use the infant head shaping pillow. While the agency did not name any particular manufacturers, it describes the pillows as having an indent or hole in the center that cradles an infant's head while the child lies on its back. The agency also said it is not aware of any benefits of using the pillows either, and that the use of them can create an unsafe sleep environment for babies by being a suffocation and death risk. The FDA says if you have one, you should throw it away.
Experts say almost 20% of high school students report serious thoughts of suicide. What signs to look out for if your child is having similar thoughts? Coming up on 4 News Now at 6:30.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
It's a prime-time Plinko party like you've never seen. Qualify in November and win a shot at Plinko Cash at the Kootenai Casino in Bonners Ferry. And our Plinko party is just the beginning. Midweek room rates are just $109 for Kootenai Falls Lodge or $129 for a Riverview room. Both come with breakfast for two. If you like parties and you like winning cash, book a getaway to the Kootenai Casino. Call 888-YOU-ARE-LUCKY or visit KootenaiRiverInn.com.
Hi, I'm Baylor. Hi, I'm Graham.
And Grady Smiley.
Reminding you to turn in your ballots for our mom.
Tiffany Smiley.
Send it back here so we can finally walk home from school alone.
Here to bring back road trips.
Or here so we can get the good snacks again.
Thanks, boys. This year, every vote counts. Get your ballots in by November 8th, and together, we will win.
Mom, they got this.
I'm Tiffany Smiley, and I approve this message.
The redesigned Envision has enough style, power, and technology to make every day just a bit better. The Becker Buick Envision has all-wheel drive handling. Plus, the cabin is quiet and is equipped with heated seats and driver's seat massage control. Want the latest safety features? How's this for impressive? Adaptive cruise control, lane change alert, automatic parking assist, enhanced emergency braking, and HD surround vision. The Envision at Becker Buick GMC, where you'll always be treated like family.
Thanks to you, we have collected thousands of coats during this year's Coats for Kids campaign. The coats have now been cleaned thanks to Alsco and are ready for distribution. If you know a child in need of a warm winter coat, go to KXLY.com/coatsforkids to find a distribution location near you.
A special thanks to Global Credit Union for sponsoring Coats for Kids. Their dedication to this community will keep thousands of kids warm this winter. Stop by a Global Credit Union and say thanks.
GPS driving disaster?
Why?
Next, Inside Edition, the bridge to nowhere. Did his car's GPS system lead him to his death?
It's hard not to think about, what he went through.
Why his wife says he drove straight across a bridge that didn't exist.
Unfathomable.
Then, the bride and groom who lost 330 pounds for their wedding. Next, Inside Edition.
Watch 4 News Now at 6 and Inside Edition at 7. Live from downtown Spokane, this is 4 News Now at 6:30.
Big weather changes are on the way right now with what could be the first measurable snowfall of the season starting in just a few hours.
Our team of meteorologists are declaring tomorrow a weather alert day. We'll send it over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker. She's in the First Alert Weather Center to find out what this means for you and your family. Chris.
Well, this is a potent storm coming in tomorrow, and it's not just the commute time snow, which is going to be especially heavy and wet and can cause some problems with breaking branches. It is the gusty winds coming in later tomorrow evening that could cause additional damage in terms of trees down and power outages. That is why we would want you to be on heightened alert as this storm approaches, and it's already knocking on the back door. Our satellite and radar, we've picked up a little bit of a slush around the Sandpoint area, snow around Omak, Winthrop, and it's moving into Spokane and Coeur d'Alene as a little bit of a rain-snow mix. Some folks will see more rain than snow. We have a winter weather advisory that goes into effect at 9 o'clock tonight, continues through Friday morning. For the areas shaded in purple on your screen, you'll see 2 to 4 inches around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. That is going to be very dependent on your elevation. Tonight, most of the snow accumulating is going to fall at 2,000 feet and above. That includes Coeur d'Alene, Spokane, South Hill, the 5 Mile Prairie. Once you get below 2,000 feet, we're looking at Meade at 1,900. Downtown Spokane is at 1,800. That's where it gets a little more tricky to put a number on the snow. It's going to be more of a rain-snow mix or a non-accumulating snow in those locations. The mountain areas, however, are under a winter storm warning for up to 10 inches of snow in the central Panhandle Mountains as well as the mountains of northeast Washington and North Idaho. We have the wet weather and then comes the wind, and that's where meteorologist Matt Gray picks up the next part of our story with the high winds. Matt?
Yeah, that's right. High winds. And so I'm just going to fast forward for the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene Metro because this windstorm basically comes in right behind the snow. And then when it flips over to rain, the rain that's going to be falling through the day. So here we are. This is 5 o'clock. So we talked about the morning commute. Let's talk about the evening commute, where it is going to be pretty darn windy across the region, especially along the flatlands of eastern Washington and into the West Plains in southern Spokane County. Look at these wind gusts. Winds gusting to 40 miles an hour or above. In downtown Spokane at the International Airport, close to 50 miles an hour at Fairchild potentially. And you can see around Coeur d'Alene those wind gusts getting into the 30 to 40 mile an hour gust range. Now, this is just the beginning because the winds are going to continue to increase as the night goes on. Around Spokane and the West Plains, we're talking about potential for gusts over 50 miles an hour. We're talking about potential for gusts over 40 miles an hour as you cross the state line into Kootenai County. Either way, these are the types of winds that have the potential for damage, and they'll continue on through about 2, 3 in the morning before things start to calm down. Even some 60-mile-an-hour wind potential, as you can see there on the West Plains. And when you get up to that level, well, that could cause quite a bit of damage. It's definitely one of the upper ends, or at least the medium upper end of the windstorms that we get around here as far as the impact with power outages and difficult driving and falling trees, etc., etc. So what can you do now that you know what's happening? A lot of this is pretty obvious, right? Don't park under a tree tomorrow afternoon. Check your flashlight batteries in case the power goes out. You'll definitely want that. Don't let your trash cans blow away. Here's the one at the bottom, though, that I want to emphasize for you. Pretty much this whole wind event is happening in the dark, which means you got no reaction time if things start falling around you. So probably best to stay at home, maybe have a nice, relaxing Friday night.
Thank you, Matt. We continue our For the People election coverage now. The U.S. Senate race in Washington is one of several tight races that could flip control of the Senate.
This race remains highly contested just 5 days away from Election Day. Both Tiffany Smiley and incumbent Patty Murray continue to campaign, hoping to sway undecided voters before Tuesday. KXLY's Jordan Smith has been tracking this race. He joins us from Whitworth University with what we could expect if Republicans reclaim control of either chamber.
Well, there certainly is a lot at stake on Tuesday night, especially with how contested this race is for U.S. Senate here in Washington State. Today I spoke with Dr. Aaron Heitfield of Whitworth University, who breaks down what each candidate has to do in order to walk away victorious on Tuesday night and what it could look like if Republicans take control of one or both chambers of Congress. With just 5 days to go until election night, both Senator Patty Murray and Tiffany Smiley are in a fierce battle for a seat in the U.S. Senate.
It's been kind of the surprise election, or one of the big surprise elections of the year.
Dr. Aaron Heitfield has a Ph.D. in public affairs with an area focus in congressional elections. He says when it comes to election season, it's no secret that money talks.
There's a lot of truth to that. You have to raise a lot of money, and you usually have to raise the most amount of money.
Both candidates taking that advice to heart, having collectively spent over $36 million between their two campaigns. But Dr. Heitfield says a critical difference is how they're spending money and which voters they're targeting. He says candidates should avoid trying to convert voters from across the aisle and focus on partisan voter turnout, giving credit to the Murray campaign.
The real success in an election is to get your co-partisans to turn out to vote. They're doing a better job of getting Democratic voters mobilized and having their campaign ads and advertisements are really highlighting the need to turn out to vote. Whereas the ads that I've seen predominantly with the Smiley campaign are focused on trying to turn voters, and that's not as an effective of a campaign strategy.
Republicans need to flip just one seat in the U.S. Senate to reclaim power in that chamber. I asked Dr. Heitfield what Americans could expect should that happen.
We would see a lot of gridlock occur, so we'll probably see legislative stalemates. If the House flips as well, then we'll have divided government. Right now we have unified government, we'll have divided government.
And with how tight this race is heading into Election Day, it's really tough to say if either candidate has a distinct upper hand. We'll be tracking all the updates for you on Election Night as those votes are being counted. Reporting from Whitworth University, I'm Jordan Smith, 4 News Now.
Thank you, Jordan. And it's no coincidence if you notice every single time you turn on the TV or go online, you see ads like these for Patty Murray and Tiffany Smiley. Both candidates are spending millions of dollars on advertising, making this the most expensive U.S. Senate race in Washington in over 40 years. Murray's campaign has spent over $21 million, according to the Federal Election Commission. That is double what she spent in 2016. Smiley campaign has spent $15 million. That's nearly 10 times the amount spent by Murray's 2016 GOP challenger. These numbers don't include the millions of dollars of PAC spending either. The number of ads are only going to increase ahead of Election Day. Just this week, an anti-Murray PAC spent more than $300,000 on ads to air here in Spokane.
Election Day is Tuesday. Washington's 4th District covers Spokane Valley to Liberty Lake. Up for election for representatives for position 1 or 2 candidates who haven't held public office. Ted Cummings and Suzanne Schmidt are both looking to earn your vote. In tonight's For the People coverage, Bronte Sorotsky breaks down each candidate's platform.
Well, Ted Cummings, a Democrat, is a...
Suzanne Schmidt was the president and CEO of the Associated Builders and Contractors for 6 years. She hasn't held public office before, but says she has experience advocating for employers in Olympia.
I've actually testified for before committees. I've also ran grassroots efforts, been over for, meetings with legislators and also with lobbyists and task force committees and so on.
Ted Cummings is a Kaiser employee as well as a union member. He hasn't held public office before either, but has run before. He says his union work has led to his desire to run.
Because I see that there's a real need for people that will stand up for democracy, stand up for working men and women. As union membership has declined over the last 40 years, so has our way of life, our quality of life.
Schmidt says she wants legislation to be more in favor of law enforcement, going after police reform laws that were passed in 2021.
So I'd love to be able to reverse that, to give our law enforcement officers that opportunity to, to pursue criminals when they're in the process of committing a crime.
Cummings says he doesn't think these laws need to stay in place forever, but believes they help keep people safe.
New legislative policies that law enforcement's upset about now, that conservatives are touting as an overreach. Well, they came about as a reason. People were being hurt or dying, and no one can deny that there have been too many of these, and they need to stop.
Both candidates agree that rising costs and inflation need to be addressed in the next legislative session. Well, this just scratched the surface of the issues these candidates wish to address in the next legislative session. To hear more about these candidates' plans, head over to our website, KXLY.com. Live in studio, Bronte Sorotsky, 4 News Now.
Bronte, thank you. In our latest edition of Cougar Chalk Talk, our sports team breaks down how Washington State plans to end its 3-game losing streak. Stay with us.
Download the 4 News Now app today.
4 News Now is brought to you by End the Violence.
Kelly's all new.
That's you, girl.
Awful.
Weekdays at 4.
Freedom, liberty, pursuing American dreams. That's Idaho. But Joe Biden severely threatened our way of life. Reckless energy policies sent gas prices soaring, irresponsible spending, and record-breaking inflation. Open borders allow dangerous drugs and crime into our neighborhoods. I'm Mike Crapo. I approve this message because we are Idaho, and together we'll fight to protect Idaho's way of life.
Is one casino really any better than the next? Well, at Northern Quest, we've got the largest gaming floor in the region, not to mention the most slot titles, the most payouts, the largest selection of table games, the lowest minimum bets, the highest maximum bets, and a state-of-the-art sports book. So you tell us. Northern Quest, yes, the best. Play daily to win 2 Polaris snowmobiles or a flurry of cash on November 30th.
I have a little bit of savings, but I depend on Social Security and Medicare. I'm alarmed to read that Tiffany Smiley supports a plan that could virtually, in all respects, end Social Security and Medicare in 5 years. Then she'd make Congress fight about whether to create those programs all over again. It's a nightmare. Tiffany Smiley, I earned my Social Security and Medicare. I will not let you take them away.
Women voters responsible for the content of this advertising.
The race is on to save thousands during the 72-hour sale at Cal, where they are marking down rigs to sell fast and delaying all payments until February 1st with a complimentary 2-year service maintenance plan included. This weekend at Cal.
I'm Patty Murray, and I approve this message.
Why is Mitch McConnell spending millions to convince you to support Tiffany Smiley?
Tiffany Smiley is outstanding.
So Trump Republicans can pass their extreme agenda. Repeal the Affordable Care Act.
Tiffany Smiley is outstanding.
Slash Medicare. Privatize Social Security.
Outstanding.
Overturn elections.
Outstanding.
Ban abortion. Roll back same-sex marriage.
Outstanding.
Smiley is Mitch McConnell's hand-picked candidate for Senate, making her the wrong choice for us.
Latest image from Sandpoint. This is Boyer and Highway 2, and it looks like it is just rain. If you look closely, though, it's starting to be a little bit of slush. There's some texture to those raindrops, and I am quite certain you're going to see the transition to snow here very soon. Satellite and radar shows the wet weather moving in across the inland northwest, and that is going to pick up in intensity overnight. Most locations will at least see a rain-snow mix, if not flat-out snow. Here's a look at what's going on, the big picture. We haven't talked much about that. We have been very focused on the fine details. We do have a potent early season storm on the way in that is already spreading some precipitation across the region. As we get into the morning tomorrow, the warm air associated with this system, the warm front comes through, and that's where our snow will turn to rain in all valley locations by probably mid-morning at the latest. Certainly by the afternoon, our snow level is going to be up around 5,000 to 6,000 feet. Then the cold front behind that warm front comes in, and that's when our winds really start picking up. It's going to get windy as early as tomorrow early morning. We could see wind gusts in the 30-mile-per-hour range, but by this time tomorrow, things are really going to start going 50-mile-per-hour winds, and by late tomorrow night, close to 60-mile-per-hour winds. Now, something we haven't talked a lot about, once this front clears, here's Saturday at 8 a.m., then the cold air starts making its way in. Here's a look at our temperature trend over the next 7 days. Now, tomorrow we're actually going to be above average with that high of 50. It's going to be tough to measure the snow because it's going to melt very quickly after it falls. Then we start dropping, and then we're way down here in the 20s for highs starting Monday and all the way through Wednesday. And it looks like that trend is going to continue. Here's a look at our temperatures November 11th through the 17th in that dark navy blue, indicating a very strong trend toward below average temperatures. That seems to be a pattern with these inland northwest wind events. We get the wind event that knocks out our power, and then we get into the cold weather without any electricity. So I'm hoping that we can make it through this event without too much damage to our power. Here's a look at our planning forecast. We're dry on Saturday after the storm on Friday. More wet weather coming in on Sunday, both rain and snow, and then hit and miss snow showers possible next week when we are really seeing some cold weather. Overnight lows getting down in the teens. Aaron?
Chris, thank you. A conversation around suicide is happening right now at Gonzaga University.
The National Alliance on Mental Illness says nearly 20% of high school students report having serious thoughts of suicide, and 9% have even tried to take their own lives. New at 6:30 tonight, Vanessa Perez is live in studio with the Prevent Suicide Coalition's message for you.
The average rate of suicide in Spokane is higher than the national average. Advocates in our community are on a mission to let people know they're not alone and the resources are out there.
Today is a really bad day for you, but tomorrow it will be different. I promise you that. But we have to have you here with us so we can figure that out.
That's Melody Euchre's message to anyone struggling with suicidal thoughts.
You know, but suicide prevention is about every day and every month. And so we wanted to have it during a month that don't normally have a suicide prevention program.
Today's event is where people can receive resources and hear from a panel of mental health experts. Guest speaker Kevin Hines knows suicide very well.
He walked over the San Francisco Bridge. He stood there for quite a while, and then he finally made the final decision, and he jumped.
He was filled with instant regret, a miracle being that only 3% survived jumping off the bridge. He now shares his story of hope. Hines is not at the event tonight because he is recovering from a seizure. Signs of a person who may be struggling with suicidal thoughts are different for everyone.
But mostly notice that if the baseline's off, right? And they're acting different. And not just be about being sad, you know, and depressed. Anger is another one, a very big one. If they're angry, you know, that's a big sign.
Signs also include someone overly happy and energetic, so be sure to pay attention to your gut feeling.
Things just not right. Your intuition is saying, I'm really worried about this person. Or maybe somebody's going through an event that's happened, like a divorce, right? If somebody's going through a divorce, check with them.
If you're struggling with suicidal thoughts, you can call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. The hotline isn't only for people in crisis. You can also call if you're helping a suicidal person. 4 News Now's Derek Dice is emceeing the sold-out event tonight. Live in studio, Vanessa Perez, 4 News Now.
Vanessa, thank you. Here's a look at ABC's primetime lineup tonight.
Stream 4 News Now on your TV for free with the KXLY Plus app.
September 7th was horrible.
All hell broke loose.
80% of the town lost their homes.
My family's home burned to the ground.
It was just heartbreaking.
Kathy was there for us.
Not taking political sides.
She's done a lot.
Put her name on the line to help here.
Kathy helped us start the journey to rebuilding.
She went above and beyond.
She genuinely actually cares.
I'm Kathy McMorris-Rogers, and I approve this message.
Turn up the heat. The Commodores live. A musical experience you won't forget. November 10th at Coeur d'Alene Casino. Get tickets now at cdacasino.com. 70 million albums sold. 7 #1 hits. The Grammy Award-winning Commodores.
The internet is full of misinformation about how elections work. There are several things you can do to spot misinformation. Be cautious of headlines designed to provoke anger, fear, or other strong emotions. Double check that the source of information is a trusted expert. And see if other news outlets are also reporting on the issue. You deserve to know the facts about Washington state elections. Visit sos.wa.gov to learn more.
Scotty has never seen our children.
A price I was honored to pay.
Today, too many families are having to sacrifice, and I fear we are losing our country. Life is unaffordable, and our communities less safe.
We need change. That's why my hero, Tiffany Smiley, is running for Senate.
I won't stop fighting until we leave our children in America worth giving their eyesight for.
You got this.
With your help, we will. I'm Tiffany Smiley, and I approve this message.
Four News Now is brought to you by End the Violence.
Washington State's offense has been struggling. It ranks near the bottom of the Pac-12. Head coach Jake Dickert even admitted it. He said the offense has fallen short of what they're capable of. But even still, the Cougars are just 2 wins away from going back to a bowl game. In our latest Chalk Talk, Alex Crescenti breaks down what the Cougs offense needs to do to turn things around in the final stretch of the regular season.
I don't
want to sound like a broken record here, but we once again have to talk about the offense of Washington State, the clear Achilles heel of this team, which is crazy because when you think about the Cougs, you associate them with a high-powered air raid attack, putting up plenty of numbers on the board. But through 2/3 of the season, it couldn't even power a toaster, and if they don't get it together soon, their season might even be toast. In last week's loss to Utah, quarterback Cam Ward was 27-31 for 222 yards and a touchdown. And at first glance, that looks like a pretty decent stat line. But a closer look shows just how conservative the offense really was. Out of the 27 completions, 15 of those only went for 5 yards or less. And most of those short passes are part of the screen game. That's been a big part of the offense this season. Head coach Jake Dickert says Utah was the far more physical team on the perimeter Thursday night.
We're not getting through enough progressions down the field, right? And then when you're not getting production in your screen game, you know, when you expect those to be 5-6 yards to stay ahead of the chains, we're putting ourselves in some bad situations and some long third downs. And that's why we can't convert and keep things moving.
And while it's been frustrating to watch the offense struggle to move the ball down the field with so many short passes, the players recognize what they need to do in order to stay out on the field and turn long drives into points.
Just trusting our technique, our hand placement, and at the end of the day, getting our hands on them first, not letting them dictate where we want to go.
With 4 games left in the regular season and bowl eligibility on the line, Dickert's message right now isn't just for 2022, but for the long-term future of the program.
Washington State football hasn't had a normal recruiting cycle since 2018. Okay, 2018. Okay, so we're sticking true to what we want to do, and we haven't kind of fulfilled some of the expectations that we had. We own that, and you know, I think our offensive coaches are in there finding ways to make sure that we're getting better each and every week.
And the Cougars kick off against Stanford 12:30 Saturday on the road. The Cougars have won 5 straight games against the Cardinal dating back to 2016, and man, they need this one. That'll wrap us up for sports.
Sign up for breaking news alerts with the 4 News Now app.
In 1992, we sent Patty Murray to the Senate to fight for us. But after nearly 30 years in D.C., she's changed. Murray has taken almost $2 million from lobbyists, and she voted for a massive tax cut for millionaires. Patty Murray's looking out for the millionaires and special interests, not us. It's time for a change. That's why I'm voting for Tiffany Smiley. She's a political outsider who will always put Washington families first.
Evergreen Principles PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning is your family-owned and operated #1 HVAC contractor in the Northwest. Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning would like to introduce our own carbon reduction program. Buy a new energy-efficient furnace from Bill's Heating and receive a matching air conditioner with installation absolutely free. No hidden fees, no conditions, no exceptions. Buy a furnace, get a free AC from Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning. Call today for estimates and repairs.
Over 21 million people are hooked on TV's best new drama.
We can choose to fight and to not back down.
With a shocking twist that you don't want to miss. Alaska Daily, new tonight on ABC.
It's time to elevate your finances. Introducing Ascend Checking, the new free checking account from P1FCU that pays you dividends. Earn 1.45% APY on balances up to $15,000. Plus, get online and mobile banking and mobile deposit with no minimum balance requirements. Level up your finances with Ascend Checking. To open your account, visit p1fcu.org/ascend. P1FCU, a Pacific Northwest original since 1938.
They keep us safe, put their lives on the line every day. Yet radicals want to defund the police and give criminals get-out-of-jail-free cards. That's the last thing we need. Law enforcement has a champion, Cathy McMorris Rodgers. Cathy says no to defunding the police and voted to secure more funding for local police departments. Endorsed by police and sheriffs, Cathy backs the blue and they back her.
I'm Cathy McMorris Rodgers, and I approve this message.
Next, ET.
I'm in a really happy place. It's been good.
We're with Selena Gomez celebrating the premiere of her new documentary.
I think it's empowering when you're able to do things on your own.
I am happier and I'm in control of my emotions more than I have ever been.
Then, ET's in Hawaii for a Magnum-sized exclusive.
With Magnum himself, Jay Hernandez.
Come on, Michelle, let's go.
Ooh, don't have to tell me twice.
Next, ET.
Watch 4 News Now at 6 and Entertainment Tonight at 7:30.
Zoomed in on Doppler radar, we're starting to see the light rain and snow throughout the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area. Expect a messy morning commute, and then the winds pick up. They'll be really going by 8 o'clock tomorrow night, but it is in that overnight time period where we could get in that 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gust range. We'll be watching that closely.
Chris has been letting us know about this all week long. There's been plenty of time to prepare. Our meteorologist Matt Gray has been here through the evening as well. So we hope that you feel prepared. We'll be talking more about it on Nightside. Yes.
We'll see you then. Have a good night.